David, a lot of this season you've talked about resilience and character as the main traits of your side. How much is tomorrow the ultimate test of those?
Well, I think those two things you mentioned there are two of our traits, but I don't think they're all of our traits. I think we've got other parts to our game as well. But I think we've shown them in abundance over the last 2 seasons. And also think that we've shown some other really good aspects of our game. And we'll need to show them all tomorrow night, not just one of them, but all of them will need to come to the fore.
David, hi. There's been a lot of talk about the atmosphere that there's going to be in this stadium tomorrow night. And often with games of this magnitude, you'll often hear the phrase, play the game, not the occasion. Mm-hmm. Is there part of you, though, as a manager that wants your players to sort of embrace the occasion and feed off that energy and not be afraid of it, I guess?
I actually think one of the things we've enjoyed more than anything is the atmosphere in the stadiums. The seeing it, we had an incredible atmosphere in Seville when we played in Seville. Their support was fantastic. I've been to this stadium several times. I've watched some games. I watched the national team play here. I've seen Frankfurt play here in the past. So if you look at a lot of the games throughout Europe, the atmospheres in a lot of the stadiums is great. But this is what the players want. This is what we want. You know, 2 years ago, for 2 years we've been watching in Germany and in the UK, we've had no people in the stadium. And football is for supporters. We want supporters there. We want supporters to make a great atmosphere. So even though we're the away team, we're really looking forward to seeing what Eintracht Frankfurt are going to show us inside their stadium.
Sorry, David, could I just follow up by asking you, in terms of the amount of games, big games that you've managed in your career, how much you hope your experience in that regard will stand you and the team in good stead tomorrow night?
Yeah, well, it's a big game for me as well. You know, it's a big game for the players. Any player anybody who's played football will tell you, getting to the semi-final of probably any competition, but to get to the semi-final of a European competition is huge for MD. So, big for me as well. I want to take the team to the final. I'm preparing the team to go to the final, where we believe that, if we get it right, we can do so. So we have to manage that, and the players are in the same place as I am. We know Frankfurt are in front, and we've got a bit to do.
David, it's been a brilliant season. You've pulled off some fantastic results in the league and in cup competitions. What did you learn from that first leg?
Well, I don't think I learned anything new about Frankfurt, because I knew about their counter-attack speed, their ability to play, the style they play in. And I've got quite a few people in Germany who I speak to regular as well, so who told me plenty about Frankfurt. So it wasn't as if we were getting to a game which we didn't know much about. I actually thought that the two teams were quite even on the night. I didn't think there was a great difference between both sides. We may see something different tomorrow night, but we think that we've got as good an opportunity as Frankfurt. We have to chase the game because we're a goal down. But in the same breath, Frankfurt are one up, and they're the ones who have to protect it.
Arguably, for some of the players, this is the biggest game of their careers to date. Have you sort of prepared anything special to say to the players, an inspirational quote or a story to tell them to try and motivate them?
Well, if I did, I probably wouldn't say it in here. But no, we've worked on things already. We've been doing lots of things to try and keep the players ready and making them think really positively about how they play. Playing against Seville, playing against Lyon were big games for us. This is an even bigger game and an even bigger magnitude. So sometimes you don't need too much. Sometimes as players you just need, hey, come on, let's get your job done, go and do all the things correctly. There's other times players do need a little bit more motivation. So you just really have to pick up in the mood and find out exactly what one of those is best to use.
Jacob?
You weren't happy with the quality in the final third last week. It felt like at times maybe it was a little bit rushed. Do they need to be maybe just a little bit calmer tomorrow night?
Well, I think sometimes when you see a team for the first time, you're not quite sure, but we missed 6 or 7 key passes which could have led to really big opportunities, and we didn't make them. So that was where I said that I thought we were short of quality in the final third. We didn't make those key passes or those opportunities. Frankfurt had 1 or 2 chances as well, but you would expect that. So yeah, we need it to work. You need to make those things happen, and when you get the opportunities, you're not going to. We get 2 games, 2 chances to do it, and we have to try and make it work in this game.
Darren?
David, before this Seville tie, you were very honest with us about your motivations and how you felt you had a lot to prove. Do you feel you've proved it anyway, or do you believe coming through this tie and actually winning this tournament would be your vindication?
No, I don't think that way at the moment, but I do feel that, when you come back into the business, you've been out for a little while and, things haven't always gone well for you. I think you have to show that you can get back in the horse and do it as well as you can. I think prior to it, most of the time, most of the clubs I've been with, I've said before, I've had in and around European positions for longer periods than I've been at the bottom of the league, that's for sure. But getting to the semi-final of a cup competition like this is really important. I've been to 2 quarter-finals, a Champions League quarter-final with Man United, and a quarter-final with Everton in this competition. So to be in a semi-final here with West Ham is huge for West Ham as a football club. Really, really is. And I'm thrilled that I'm taking the team. I've got a great group of players who, as we talked about, resilience, character, all those things that go with it. And again, the reference to it was a bit earlier, was that, it wasn't too long ago we were fighting relegation. So it's been a great climb, and I see no reason why it shouldn't continue.
With that in mind, do you feel, between the last European tie and now this tie over the 2 legs, people expected West Ham to fall away in the league, not maybe be where they are still. Do you believe that this really is the new West Ham, and the perception of the club, the owners, everything around it has changed now for the better?
I do, and I don't want to go back. Don't know if MD wants to go back. I'm trying to give it at times I've used the word new West Ham because I want people to see a new young team. So, for example, Jared Bowen, Declan Rice are new, young, up-and-coming players who are huge players who the new young supporters we've got at West Ham hope can get their jerseys, support them, and they're the future for West Ham at the moment. And in the past, as we all know, there was great Sir Trevor, all the people from the past who all the older generation talk about. I'm really hoping that in the future that, this new young generation of new supporters in a bigger stadium with more people coming, we'll be talking about the likes of Declan Rice and Jared Bowen, or hopefully for a game like tomorrow, and maybe a game in Seville in a few weeks' time, hopefully.
Dean at the back.
Yeah, evening, David.
Dean.
You've been very quick a lot of the time to play down how good this side is. And I know the recruitment's been excellent. The character of the side can't be questioned. But how important could this game be in terms of the future of these players and this team to get through a semi-final and get to a final in terms of their development?
Well, if you look at, I'm only referring because with Jared here, Jared didn't, and nobody asked, no, Jared, probably his development has been incredible. You talked about the goals he scored, you talked about his assists, and you're actually now talking about someone who's probably on the verge of getting called up for his country. I'm not the England manager, but that's the way it looks like for me. And I think that's a big thing that we've got players now doing that. But I do think that I play down the team quite a lot because I think that we've got so much more to do. And also, there's a lot said, and there's a lot of really nice things getting said about it regarding our league positioning, getting said about our cup. I'm still saying I think I've got a lot more to do for this to be as successful as I really want it to be. I've got to somehow find a way of driving those players onto another level and making sure we're in a final, or try to be in a final. And if I don't do that, then I've got to try and make sure that we finish 5th or 6th in the league again, so that we can come through this process again. And this is part of the growing part. I talk a lot about West Ham trying to grow. And I'd have liked where league games have just slid away a little bit. But as you can see, when you've had Seville and Lyon and now Eintracht Frankfurt, it's actually quite difficult to concentrate on the Thursday game and the Sunday game and get them correct. So let's hope we can do something tomorrow night.
David, it's a follow-up from one of Darren's earlier questions. As I reflect on your managerial career, obviously the FA Cup final with Everton, as you mentioned, the quarterfinals of Champions League and Man United. For you on a personal level, what have you learned from those previous experiences that you believe will put you in much better stead this time as West Ham manager?
I've got to say then, when you get that more experience you start to see it differently, and you start to look at things. Sometimes you're calmer. Sometimes you actually realise that, you have to maybe get your players straightened out a little bit more. So our players have needed both. We need to keep our performances high. We need to be very good at all the simple things in football. But then we also need to show that little bit of flair and that little bit of individual talent. So, for example, Mickey Antonio needs to start showing us his finishing and what he's about, what we know he's capable of. So if there was a stage to do it, it would be the semi-final. So let's hope that all the big players come to the table, come to tomorrow night. But you mustn't forget we're also playing a really good team in Eintracht Frankfurt who are trying to do the same. It's a huge night for Eintracht Frankfurt, not just for West Ham, for both teams it is.
Malik?
Hi, David. You were talking there about where you want to take this club. What would winning this competition do in terms of accelerating that?
It would be huge. It really would be, because it would be. I mean, I think that probably the climb in the 2 years we've had is probably a bit faster, and sometimes you can go and you have to come down a little bit to go again. Now, hopefully, we continue trying to grow that and build it, and that's what I'm trying to drive home. But the biggest thing I've seen is the mentality change in the players here is incredible. I'm saying to Declan every week, you have to drive them on. Every day in training, the levels, the standards have to be taken higher, because he has a chance to work with some of the best players in the country when he goes away with England, Harry Kane, Harry Maguire, you name it. And he has to see the best working, so he has to bring that back to our camp, and he has to demand it from the other boys. So the demand really is that we try and improve, and I put it on them. They need to be the ones who do it as well. So the manager always is the one who sort of gets found out for if it happens or not. But, sometimes the players need to be the ones who roll their sleeves up and not accept anything other than the best.
Jacob?
I just wanted to check, firstly, team news, and also just what you were saying there about Declan, about driving the team on. I mean, is tomorrow night a moment when he needs to do that?
Yes, but we also mustn't put too much on the young boy's shoulders, and I'm the one who's said it, because he's such a quality player and he's got tremendous abilities. So I challenge him a lot. But we need to get a whole team performance, and everybody needs to perform well. We're playing a good side. We're playing against a side who has probably different attributes than maybe some of the teams we've played. As I mentioned before, very strong in the counter attack, very quick, very very high intensity, energetic team. So that in itself brings different considerations in how you play. So need Deck to drive us on, but we also need him to play with a really steady and experienced head for someone who's young. At the moment, everybody, Ben Johnston, who had a thigh strain, he seems to be okay at the moment, so he'll come back into the squad. Issa Diop, as you know, is going over his ankle, but he's made an incredible recovery. Is he absolutely 100%? Maybe not, but we're at the stage we are at the season is we're needing to sort of maybe take one or two risks and get them back in the squad.
Last couple, Darren.
You said that you wanted to see more from Mickey Antonio. Does that mean we can expect to see him more in and around the penalty box? And also, how's your dad? You said that you wanted to enjoy the Europa League and go to a few stadiums. You must be tired of it now.
Yeah, well, Mickey Antonio, we've always told him to be in and around the penalty box. We've not told him to go anywhere else. But my dad's coming tomorrow, and I keep saying I hope my son takes me to the football when I'm 86 as well, because what else would you want to do? And you want to go to big games, and you want to get a chance to go away. So that's it. So lucky my brother's bringing my dad tomorrow night, and great, isn't it, that they get a chance to see you when it's in these stages. So I hope I can give them a night to remember.
Yeah.
Just one more about how you manage the game. You mentioned earlier on that you've got to chase it because you're a goal down. How tricky does that make the game plan, and how mature will the players have to be in order to execute it?
Yeah. I think that I use the word where we have to chase the game. We have to chase the game because we're a goal down. It doesn't mean that we need to necessarily go chasing from minute one to do that. I think we do need to manage the game correctly. Frankfurt, they need to manage the game correctly. They're a goal up. Sometimes that's a worry as well.
And just one at the back there.
Hi, David. Just about set pieces, you addressed it after the first leg and how they weren't up to the standard that you wanted them to be. Sebastian Rode of Eintracht Frankfurt was speaking earlier about how one of the ways that they wanted to stop your team tomorrow was by not giving away any easy fouls around those positions around the box. I just wanted to know, because Frankfurt make twice as many fouls as your team in the Europa League so far this season. Is that something that you address in terms of trying to provoke fouls from the opposition around those dangerous areas?
No, I think if MD watched their team in the last few weeks, even on Saturday, you know, the boy who was sitting next to me could easily get into a goalkeeper and probably got a goalkeeper sent off, and but chose to ride it because it would have probably meant to get injured as well. So if there's one thing I think our team is we're incredibly honest, and I've said it. I'm not someone who enjoys players who go down easy, and in the same way, I don't enjoy referees who give soft free kicks to encourage people to do it. So there's another side to it as well. So I think Frankfurt will play honestly and fairly. I know we certainly will, but you know we need also to have referees who are recognising that there is a level of honesty, or at times things they're not doing the right things.
Last two, one from 5 Live here.
David, I've been following your career for a couple of years now, and I was wondering, you talked about the importance of this for yourself. Is it in the top 3 of games in your entire career, if you manage to get through this one and get to the final?
Yes, but as a manager, I've had loads of other things. Sometimes to have, in my early part of my career, to win a game at Preston North End to get me to the playoff final. Remember beating Birmingham City in the playoff final. It was against, then we have played Bolton and lost in the final at Cardiff, the Big Sam's team. There was nearly games throughout your career, you go along and along at different times. So sometimes every time you get to a real big one, you go, yeah, this is the biggest one. But all through your career, you have lots and lots of big games. And you know what happens is, Dean's here, all the boys who've been players will tell you, in your career you have lots of ups and downs, probably more downs, because it's very hard to be a winner all the time. It's very hard to be winning the big games, the top games, because everybody's fighting for that prize. So you have to sometimes accept that as part of being a footballer or a football manager. But I think when you get so close, you're saying, come on, is this my turn? Is this my chance? So I've got to hope that it's my turn.
Last one from Jordan.
David, just on your dad, obviously you're always motivated to win a game, and it's always special to win a semi-final in Europe, but just how much more special would it be for him to be here and to see that, especially after what you've been through in your career to where you are now, and to do it in front of him as well?
Be special, be even better if it was the final. So that's the plan, So he wants it to be the final, so do I. And having him here is great. And I think the point I'm making about it, as we all know, when we get to 86 or 87, you're hoping that somebody's taking us to the football, you know what I mean? Because that's what you want to do. So the biggest thing is that he enjoys it. And the biggest thing for me is that we get to the final.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Cheers all. Thank you.